Manchester United's crisis on the pitch, which we all know about, and I've gone into plenty of detail on, could lead to even more significant losses and an even bigger crisis off the pitch with Manchester United. Deeper reports have now gone down. Everybody's looking into what happens if United do have that, let's just say, what we all think was an impossible moment in being relegated from the Premier League. If that was to happen, what would happen to Manchester United? We've talked about it in many different ways over the last couple of live streams, but another damning report from the Adidas side of things and what it would cost Manchester United. Even if United were able to salvage the deal a little bit, it would still pretty much send them into the abyss in terms of finances and where the club is actually at right now. All of that and all the details of that. Reports on Manchester United's outgoings. We have got updates and a development on Antony leaving Manchester United and what's happening with that. Alvaro Fernandez as well, and where Manchester United are at with that one and what can be done. Who is likely to move from Manchester United this window? How much United will save? And is it even significant enough to make a dent in what Manchester United need to do in terms of bringing players in as well? All of that, everything else that is completely up to date around Manchester United. 2nd of January, I'm sure you're all back to work or getting back into the normal routine. Welcome to it. Christmas is over, New Year's over. Looking ahead to Manchester United's January fixtures. I'm going to have a quick look into that as well at the end of this show. And just to break down where we need to be at going into February and a very, very crucial stage of the season for Manchester United. January is absolutely huge for Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. Ruben Amorim has got a serious job on his hands right now in turning Manchester United around. What he has to do, the results he has to make, and everything that has to be turned around at Manchester United just to keep us ahead, just to keep our heads above water, let's just say, in terms of the finances and where this club is actually at the moment. It's massive. I looked into it, and the games, and we'll talk about them in a moment, the games are huge for Manchester United. It literally is 3 different competitions, and Manchester United's plight, Manchester United's circumstances all thrown into 1 month. We're going to get into all of that, but first of all, we're going to start with the story around Manchester United's sponsorship deal. The plight, the crisis on the pitch, how it's affecting everything off the pitch, the concerns for Ineos and what is actually going on right now and what might happen. The report came initially after I actually did a video on relegation on New Year's Eve. It's then gone on to The Athletic doing an in-depth one. The Telegraph jumping onto the back of that. But the significant findings from digging deep into Manchester United's sponsorship deal with Adidas are they're quite brutal. Just to break it down into what we're actually looking at, Manchester United have a 10-year deal with Adidas as their shirt sponsor, which is worth 900 million. Yes, 900 million. 100 million short of $1 billion. That's how big this deal is. The biggest out there right now. That is 90 million a year in installments for Manchester United. So, Adidas could literally go down a couple of pathways in terms of what they could do with Manchester United. They could bin it, just completely bin the deal and say this isn't for us. We obviously didn't sign up to being in the Championship. We're not going to pay you this amount of money for being in the Championship. I'm sure Manchester United could negotiate something in as to say maybe give us a season to get back up or something like that. But can you imagine 90 million a year right now being out of Manchester United's finances? With the news that we broke yesterday about Manchester United's players not having clauses in their contract that their wages would be significantly reduced if they were relegated. United clearly could say arrogantly thinking that we would never get relegated. This is everything that I'm saying right now is what I'm putting onto in terms of pressure for January and what Ruben Amorim has to do. It goes a long, long way to salvaging Manchester United and rescuing them in terms of this crisis that we're actually in at the moment. Massive. But the Adidas deal is the biggest thing out there for Manchester United right now, alongside revenues and TV and commercial revenue that's coming in right now to Manchester United. So 90 million a year for United right now on the current Adidas deal. I mean, if Adidas did bin it, I don't know where United go from there. Now, you'd expect United, like I just said, to negotiate something in. Now, there is another option in there, after looking into it, where Adidas could just cut them payments in half. So they could half the deal. So the instalments would go down from 90 million to 45 million a year. Again, like that is huge for Manchester United, especially with the wage structure situation that's going on. And I just don't see how United survive from that. 90 million to 45 million, that's definitely not going to be salvageable. That's not going to be sustainable for Manchester United. 100%. Manchester United, in terms of the relegation side of things, so that deal alone and Adidas completely binning Manchester United off, or even half in the payments, or even taking a cut. Like, literally, even if Manchester United right now survive, stay in the Premier League, but don't get European football next season, the revenues alone that Manchester United were bringing from match days in Europe, the money from TV for covering the match day in Europe and everything like that, and you look at that and what Manchester United are dealing with right there. For instance, Manchester United cover over 200 million in turnover for commercial TV revenue and things like that. Just if United weren't there, 80% of that 200 and something million is from the Premier League. The rest is from everything else that you throw in with Europe, gate receipts and everything like that and deals. So you can imagine if you don't have 80% of that 200 million from the Premier League coming in, minus the Adidas money as well. You're starting to grow this issue of Championship football with Manchester United's wage bill minus 300 million instantly straight away. Parachute payments cover 45 million when you drop out the Premiership into the Championship. It just falls into complete insignificance and how Manchester United have run. And this just goes to show, and it just breaks it down, and it just highlights the problem that Manchester United have had and how this club has been run. I wanted to make a quick start to the video and just cover all of this before we got into everything else that was necessary. But again, just so people understand how poorly Manchester United have been run, and this has been steadily getting worse and worse and worse. How do you keep on getting better deals commercial wise, better deals sponsorship wise, and get worse on the pitch because of how it was run with the Glazers in charge and the people that they had employed at Manchester United? This just needs to be put out there and highlighted as to how poorly Manchester United's operations have been run throughout the football club on the football side of things. Now, Ineos are coming in and they are cracking the whip, and this is why there is so many cuts. There are stupid cuts and there are price hikes that shouldn't be there. Yes, but in terms of the other cuts and everything else that's going on, necessary because of this and how it was all done before. And where we all are having a go at Ineos, where we are having a go at certain things they've done, which is quite right. I think some of the things that they have put in place have been absolutely ridiculous, and they are definitely they're building a divide between the club and the fans again at the moment, and that shouldn't be done. But we need to remember as well, in everything that's going on with Manchester United right now, and the issues that were there before, and the fact that we could, because of the way we've been run, and because of the recruitment, because of the waste of money that Manchester United have accumulated over the last decade and so, that Manchester United right now, even with the best deals that are out there in sport, in the sports industry, are still where we are in terms of debt, in terms of quality of team, in terms of brand, in terms of being as close as we ever have to falling out of the top flight of football. Never mind European football. This is falling out of the top flight of our own domestic football. How does this happen? The Glazers, Ed Woodward, Murto, Arnold, the merry men that were there after Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill left, have put United where they are now. And we have just literally cut that off, said, Ineos, fix it, and do this now. And the mistakes that Ineos have made in their first year have just escalated the last 10 plus years issues and problems at Manchester United to a whole new level. It has been nothing short of an absolute catastrophe for Ineos since joining Manchester United. And I'm not surprised that, and they've done this quietly, sneakily a little bit in terms of the stadium and how it had been put off and put off and put off. The whole task force, the big bring the United fans in and show everything that's going to be going on at Manchester United when we do the rebuild, regenerate the area and everything like that. Look, I know for certain, after speaking to people that are in the know with the council side of things and the government money and funding and everything like that, that they are getting zero from the government. That Manchester United will get no funding whatsoever apart from their own to do this regeneration of the Trafford Wharf and Salford Quays and around Old Trafford, build a stadium. Zilcho. If they want to do it, it's on their own back. It's up to Sir Jim Radcliffe. Now, I was told that he wants to leverage that to get more power at United by putting his own money in to make this build happen, but move the Glazers out. Fair enough, I don't think any Man United fan is going to have a problem with that. But the fact that they have got this task force going, the big, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, 1 year in, all of a sudden, that's been put back now to springtime and the end of this season before they can even make an announcement on the stadium. So over a year in, coming up to 18 months, we're going to be nowhere near knowing what they want to do with Old Trafford because of the team, Manchester United, the brand, the situation we're in. They cannot put any plans in place until they know and they have got stability within Manchester United and the football side of things. It's the brand that comes first. And unfortunately for Ineos, with all of the plans and all of their business knowledge, all of their cuts, everything that they can do to make Manchester United better off the pitch, without a decent football team, it counts for absolutely diddly squat. And that's the problem right now. So when we're talking about pressure on one man, we're talking about pressure on one coach, trying to deal with this team, the ineptitude, the lack of professionalism, and what's been brought into this football club and the culture created by everything that I've just explained, and you want him to fix it, and there's people actually going in on Ruben Amorim about his system, his style, and everything that he's doing, you pile all of that onto one man and say fix Manchester United. The whole fate of this football club is in the hands of Ruben Amorim right now. You can say that's a far outlandish and over-the-top statement from me. It is true though, because without him fixing United right now and us having nowhere else to go in terms of bringing another coach in or the players that we can get, it's up to him. If we get relegated, everything that I've just talked about happens. Manchester United move nowhere. We get no new stadium. The deterioration of Old Trafford continues, which is shocking at the moment, and the way that that stadium is looking and the facilities that we've got. It's an embarrassment to one of the biggest, if not the biggest, football club in the world. And if Adidas bail out on this deal because we are so crap on the pitch, then that is the final nail in the coffin. And the big thank you Glazers situation that we've all had and we've all had for the last two decades plus, that there is it. That's the final episode of the Glazers ownership of Manchester United. I don't see how they survive from that. They will do one. They will take whatever money they can out of Manchester United and just sail off into the sunset. Thank you. We gave it a go. We spent absolutely nothing and come away with a few billion. Oh well, that's it. That's the situation we're in right now when you look at it. And the fact that we're even talking about Adidas shows you exactly where Manchester United are at. So you can talk about it. You can ignore it. You don't have to listen to what I'm saying. You don't have to listen to all of my big statements about it all being pressured on Ruben Amorim. Look, the facts are telling you everything you need to know. And you cannot argue with the facts. United are 14th. United are 7 points off relegation. United can't afford to bring players in because we've got no money. Adidas are going to bin it. We're going to be out of Europe next season and we're going to lose money off Adidas even if we stay in the Premier League. Whichever way you look at it, Ruben Amorim has to have a monumental second half of the season to turn this around. And for Ineos to not back him or do everything in their power to back him is an absolute disgrace. So let's see what you've got, Ineos. You have, let's just say, accelerated the deterioration of Manchester United in your first year. Facts. Simple as. I understand what you're doing. I like some of the things that you were doing. But the key decisions and key moments in your first year, you have completely ballsed up. And we are in the situation that we are in right now because you didn't make the right calls in the summer. We would be nowhere near this right now. And yeah, when all of that is said and done, what I'm going to talk about quite soon on the January side of things and building all of that up, you will understand how important this actually is for United. There's a lot more to talk about, but I do want to come into the chat on that initial part. Thank you everybody for joining us. Over 100 likes already, loads of comments coming in, over 1,200 in the room with us right now. Please give the video a like. Make sure that you do obviously hit that like button as well. I just said that twice, didn't I? Yeah, no, I meant to say make sure you hit the subscribe button and bell notifications to make sure you're up to date with everything going on with Manchester United. I have got you covered as always. We're off to a bang in 2025 and we can only look up because right now I do feel like this is as low as it's ever been in Manchester United's history apart from the 70s when United were relegated, but this is the lowest point we've ever had. So, yes, you've got to look at it and say, with a real hat on, this is a serious situation right now for United, and we're in a bit of a predicament. We're in a hole, and we are going to have to claw our way out, and it's down to one man really right now. And if he gets the backing from Ineos, I am certain that we will thrive in all of this. Let's get a few comments in before we move on to the next segment. I have gone on for 15 minutes there, so it's time for giving you your chance. We were better with just the Glazers. Ineos is dragging United down. We have terrible owners of our club. They both need to go. I don't think we're better off with the Glazers. Definitely not, because we'd still have bleeding Murto and Arnold running the show. Can you imagine? We still have Ten Hag. Actually, probably wouldn't, because they would have sacked him because he was doing so bad. But they never would have got Ruben Amorim in. Definitely not better with just the Glazers. I'll say that definitely. Let's just see. Adam is being relegated would be catastrophic in so many ways. Andrew, it would do, but I think the only hope we've got with being relegated, I think it was like what we were saying last night, wasn't it? If United do get relegated, will that force the Glazers out? Will that give us a full reset? Administration, everything, all of the nightmare situation that we'd have to live through. Would we take 2 years in the wilderness to come back even stronger? Will we come back stronger? That's the jeopardy of it, isn't it? That's the concern and the worry. Do we stick with the Glazers and stay in the Premier League? Because they're not going to leave if we're in the Premier League. That's what we need to realise as a United fan base. They're not going to go anywhere. Unless Sir Jim Ratcliffe has his own way. And this is where the other argument comes in on Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Like, he wants to push the Glazers out, which is everything that we want. The problem we've got right now is not many people are liking Sir Jim Ratcliffe because he's tried to fast forward things and just run into a brick wall and looks like a bit of an idiot right now. So we're not convinced by him in his first year. Well, I'm sure we would have given, let's say for instance 10 years ago, I'm sure we would have given Sir Jim Ratcliffe 5 or 10 years to get to this point right now and see where we would have been at. The fact that the Glazers have taken to where we are and Sir Jim's made so many mistakes right now, I don't think there's one Man United fan convinced with anything that's going on with the United hierarchy and what's happening above us right now. So yeah, let's just be real, let's just be honest, and I think that's where we are actually at right now. Panic stations. Really? Drop out the Premier League into the Super League. Jim's master plan. Super League's a load of crap. I don't even know what teams are actually going to be in that. They've not even announced what the teams are yet. Getting says, Ineos are so bad. The mistakes are terrible. Not sacking Ten Hag. Bruno's wages should have sold him. Ashworth, we look so dumb. Yeah. It's obvious by now that we don't have the players to play the new system. Results and performances tell us that. So why persist? And may as well revert back to what we know and reset in the summer. No, Jimmy, complete and utter garbage, I'm afraid, mate, on that one. And that's what I was saying yesterday. Not saying you're garbage, mate. This is what people were saying on the radio yesterday, but no one's listening to what Amorim's saying. Did nobody look at what Manchester United's setup was against Liverpool, against Newcastle? When you look at the team that was out there, it wasn't 3-4-3. We had 5 at the back. We were holding. We had 4 in midfield and 1 up front. It went to 4-4-2 as well. It's not just one system. He just cannot get out the basics and the extra demands that he wants in terms of work rate out of these players. And that is why it's a disgrace. And these players are absolutely... the reason why everyone is laughing at them. It's the reason why all the pundits are going in on them. Could you give that a little bit more? Can you look at yourself in the mirror and say that you gave a maximum to this manager in that game? None of them. None of them. You could argue Ahmad maybe, but not. This is down on the players. This is fully down on the players. It's as simple as that. I don't see us getting relegated, but I do think we are in massive trouble as a club financially, and I think that's clear with what Ineos are doing. That's from United Spotlight, definitely. Almark, didn't Radcliffe promise best in class? Where is the best in class? He thought he had it and he got rid of it. I don't know if that means the players as well. We'll see, won't we? With sponsorship dropping, the government bringing in football governance, private shareholders getting worried. It's good news. Glazers will sell. Who are they going to sell to though? Because Ineos are in prime position for that because they give the highest bid. And if they do sell, we are with Ineos. Is that better? A lot of people right now would argue not. The Glazers are laughing. They don't care. United are finished. Yeah, I think it is a case of that. They're sat back watching everything like completely undo itself at Manchester United. And then take that money that they've got, the billions that they've got off Sir Jim Radcliffe, the extra investment they've just put in as well, like all of the pressure and all of the aggro is going on to Ineos right now, and they're just sat back with their feet up in Florida, and yeah, every single United fan is, let's just say, I'm not even going to go into what we're wishing on the Glazers right now, that would be wrong of me, but you know where I'm going with that, and you know what I mean by that. I want to move on as well. It doesn't get much better, I'm sorry everyone, but I've just done some looking around into everything that's going on. So first of all, I'll touch on the Anthony situation and what's happening right now. So this deal has moved forward in the sense that Como, the new team developed over there in Italy. Obviously, Fabregas investments, Thierry Henry investment, and so on. It's a bit of talk of the town over in Italy right now. Now, they're looking to buy Assane Diao, and you're all thinking, who the hell is Assane Diao? But just go back to yesterday when we were talking about Real Betis' interest in Antony, but they had to move Assane Diao out to make that happen. Now that's the player that Betis have got that they need to move on to facilitate any move in January for Antony. Now it would be a deal, finance package deal for Como to take Diao, which would give them the finances just alone to loan Antony, not buy him, loan him. So, yeah, that's the situation and finances at Real Betis. So, they would definitely be looking to take Antony from Manchester United, but only on loan, with United still paying part of his wages, which, again, is it's a bleeding nightmare. When you work it out and what Antony's on, and he's on 200 grand a week, obviously that's been subsidised because he's not in the Champions League with his teammates and everyone. He takes that pay cut. But even if United loaned out Antony, I'm talking here just for players being in an amount amongst Manchester United and actually putting an effort in, because I think Antony does put an effort in. And this is the bare minimum that we're after right now. And this is scraping the barrel. It really is. But this is what I've just worked out. Manchester United, Antony's wages, what he's on, we loan him out. Even if we have to pay part of his wages, United stand to save approximately from now until the end of the season, a miserly, I think it works out just under £2 million in loaning Antony out. And I look at that and I say, you've got a player there that actually does give a shit. You can argue the quality, but I mean, when you compare him to, let's just be honest and real again, Mason Mount, who's not available, Garnacho, who doesn't want to listen by the sounds of it, Rashford, say no more, Xerxes, again struggling to adapt. You've got Antony there that could play in a 10 or a wing-back role. This sounds crazy coming from me, it really does, but I'm sorry, I wouldn't get rid of him. For the sake of saving $2 million from now until the end of the season, and then he comes back in the summer. I know he could probably find his feet and do better in Betis, but Man United can't bring anyone in. Loaning Antony out isn't going to bring us another player in, so why would you lose a squad member that can actually do a role for you in certain games? I mean, we haven't got wing-backs. This sale is not going to help Manchester United. Getting rid of Antony on loan to Betis, I'm sorry, where is it benefiting United? The more I look at it, the more I start to think, you know what? I'd rather keep Antony. I'd rather keep him in the team because it's not going to benefit us in any way, shape or form. I mean, come to me in the chat and let me know on that one. And tell me. Daniel, thank you for the super chat, mate. ATKO says... Al Halali wants a CDM and Ivan Toney wants to leave. We could do a swap. Today. This mess can be sorted. Plus, sell Leacher and play a settled back three with Harry Maguire guiding Euro. It's imaginative, but you've got to look at it that way. Casemiro, yeah, like if there is room in Saudi Arabia, Casemiro will go. I think he's done. But there isn't at the moment, unless they sell. And if that happens, then we could be talking a different ball game. We could be rid of Casemiro, and his wages are substantial, but we're still not going to earn a lot of money. Not enough. Anyway, but would you keep Antony in the side, or let him go on loan, coming back in the summer, and save yourselves just under $2 million in wages? What would you do? I would keep Antony in the side. I would keep him as a wing-back option off the bench Do you know what? When we need to rest players, Anthony can come on for half an hour, 20 minutes, do a job, run around. I actually feel like he wants to try, and that's the difference. And like the list of players that have just rolled out there, I mean, is he a better option than Malacia? Yes. Better than Mount? Yes, because he's not fit. Better than what Shaw could be on the left as a wing-back, possibly? Yeah, he's not fit. Garnacho at the moment, you'd probably argue. You're splitting hairs between Garnacho and Anthony right now in terms of who's going to give you more under Ruben Amorim, especially. I think under Ruben Amorim, Anthony's played better than Garnacho. Rashford, forget it, like I said. Xerxes struggling. I mean, seriously, yeah. When I break it down and I look at Anthony's deal, I say keep Anthony in the squad. Like, why are we getting rid of a player? It's ridiculous. Yeah, if you can sell him in the summer, of course, I'm with all of that. But I'm talking about the immediate right now in January. We're talking about moving Anthony on, and everyone's like, wait, yes, Anthony's gone finally. I'm sorry, no. Keep him. Anthony on loan makes no sense. We actually need him, definitely. Gehun, believe me, we do. I would keep him. I got his bloody name on one of my shirts. Honestly, don't do it. Don't do it. Honestly, don't do it. That just reminds me of people actually making up stories about Marcus Rashford saying on other channels, good God, like talk about clinging on. Anyway, but yeah, I just don't think we can afford to let Anthony go. I really don't. Even if we can't move Rashford on, for instance, I'd rather have Anthony playing ahead of him just to put Rashford in his place. I would. That's where I'm at with Rashford right now. That's how much I think about him. And I'm glad we've got Ruben Amorim there because he won't play him still, even if he's not sold on or moved on in January. If you're going to loan anyone, you loan the virus. And that's Rashford. Get him gone. Pay part of his wages. Do what you got to do because Rashford will actually play somewhere and maybe we can make more money off him in the summer. That's how I look at the situation right now with him. This is it. This is crazy. This is where we're at right now. When you look at everything, right now, Anthony's more valuable to Manchester United than Marcus Rashford is. And I don't care what pundits on the radio, on TV are saying or anything like that. For Ruben Amorim, who is the most important man at United, like I said at the top of this video right now, Anthony's more valuable than Marcus Rashford. Rashford's a virus which is causing a problem. Loan him out and keep Anthony. We're not going to make any money off any of these players in January. We're not. So who is going to have more value in the summer? Marcus Rashford or Anthony? If Anthony goes on loan, nobody's going to be bidding 20, 30 million for him in the summer. Not unless he absolutely has a masterclass. Marcus Rashford on loan somewhere else could add value because he's got that history. He has scored goals. He has been good at a time. And Marcus Rashford then in the summer would be 20 times more valuable than what Anthony would be. So what works now? Anthony staying, putting a workload in and giving up Amorim everything. Yes, maybe then selling for cheap in the summer when you can and it's easier to. Loan Rashford out now. Pay his wages, do what you got to do to get him out of the club and help Ruben Amorim because right now he's not helping him. It's a situation he doesn't need to be dealing with. But Rashford can go out, find a bit of form, earn a bit of money for Manchester United in the summer by finding his feet and then grabbing value when we can maybe sell him for 50 million. Do you know what I mean? Like the Sancho situation. Rashford has got talent, but he just doesn't give a shit about the football club. I don't care what he says in interviews. He doesn't. It's quite clear. He is worth more than Anthony in the summer. Anthony's worth more than Rashford now. That's what you've got to look at. I mean, I broke this down. Samuel Luckhurst has actually done a piece on Alvaro Fernandez and where we're actually at with this right now. So just when you look at Manchester United's finances, you look at the players that we're trying to move on. So I did some sums, I worked it out, and this is the situation that we're actually in right now. And listen to this, yeah? If Manchester United were to sell Lindelof and Eriksen and loan Anthony out this January, and that transfer fees and wages saved from them three first-team players who were ahead of other players. First team players, Eriksen, Lindelof, Anthony loaned, sold Lindelof, sold Eriksen for the fees that we're going to get for them, the wages that they're on. We did all of that. We still couldn't afford to pay half of the fee of the buyout of Alvaro Fernandez, a player we did have at the football club, but Ten Hag let go. Let that sink in. 3 first team players that were ahead of Alvaro Fernandez, under Erik Ten Hag and his mastermind thinking of how Manchester United work in the future with his process and his plan, yeah? Them 3 players ahead of Alvaro Fernandez, he was let go. Now, United are looking to sell them 3 first-team players. Like I said, loan Anthony out because no one's going to buy him. We'll sell Ericsson, we'll sell Lindelof, loan Anthony out. The wages that you're saving there, the fees that you'll get for them players, United still couldn't afford to pay half of the buyback, which is seen to be cheap for Alvaro Fernandez. And that's a player that we already had at the football club that we sold and now want back. Manchester United's recruitment, Manchester United's football operations, and the way this club was run over the last 3 years alone, forget about the previous 7 of the last decade, like the last 3 alone, it's mind-blowing. It really is. And people say that Ten Hag wasn't the problem, it was what was wrong. Ten Hag was a massive problem. He has set Manchester United back years. And that scenario there and what I just described is an absolute embarrassment to Manchester United. And you say that we're not in a tight spot and we're not in the predicament and everyone's overhyping it. I'm sorry, I'm not having it. We literally are in a black hole right now caused by ourselves. Angel Michael says, why we haven't tried Anthony on the left side? I don't know why. And maybe it's because he's not comfortable playing there. I don't know. Yeah, it's honestly right now, for me, when you look at it and you dig into it a bit more, you look at what we can do, it doesn't look good for us. It doesn't look good for us at all. And when I said at the top of the show, like Manchester United's fate, Manchester United's future, and everything that is happening right now, it's all in the hands of Ruben Amorim. It is. It's crazy. We have nearly 1,800 people in the room. Thank you, everybody. We haven't got 300 likes yet. I'm sure we should be at least 500 likes for the show, everybody. Please do give the video a like. We should be a lot closer to 500 than where we're actually at. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you have subscribed to Forever United TV. I go into detail on all of the Manchester United news and details, and we even do little things like that. But that really was... That was embarrassing when I was looking at that this morning. I thought, we can't loan Alvaro back because of the situation that we have just done with Benfica anyway. So we can only buy Alvaro Fernandez. And everyone's talking about Alvaro Fernandez being the cheaper option for Manchester United and being able to bring him in because Mendes is too dear. Listen, I don't know what money United have got spare. From what we're looking at and the reports that are in, we need to sell. And it does look that way. We do need to sell. But when you look at the situation that we're in now with Alvaro Fernandez, and we cannot get rid of 3 first-team players who are on the absolute world in terms of wages, we can't get together half of the transfer fee in what we've sold and the wages we're saving of Alvaro Fernandez, a player that we used to have. It just goes to show what Manchester United were doing before, and the mind boggles, honestly. Like, this is supposed to be the biggest football club in the world, and the people that were running it have just made it an impossible task for anyone who is trying to manage this club. Like I said, like, even, you know what? I don't like Ten Hag, but I think he was obviously up against it as well. Like, I'm not just saying this is all his fault. I think he played a big part in a big issue with Manchester United, but it's not all on him. I know that, and I've said that before. I don't like him. I didn't like what he was saying, and I think he was covering a lot up and making excuses all of the time. But his hands were tied. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, look at Jose Mourinho. Like what Gary Neville said about the teams that have gone before over the last few managers that we said weren't good enough compared to what we've got now. We'd give our left arm to have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team on the pitch right now, or Jose Mourinho's team on the pitch right now. Give me bleeding Louis van Gaal's team that were on the pitch. Honestly, I'd take them right now over the one that we've got at Manchester United for Ruben Amorim. It's an absolute joke where we're actually at. This is what I wanted to go on to next. And like, Angel, again, thank you for another super chat there, mate. Adam, it's genuinely painful to watch Dalot play. Yeah, I did do a short and a video yesterday talking about Dalot's move possibly to Real Madrid. A few people have come back at me and said, are you crazy, Adam? Real Madrid are not going to buy Dalot. Look, Dalot fits into a system. He's not fitting into Ruben Amorim's and what he wants from him. Clearly, it doesn't work. He needs to be on the right. I think he's better in a 4. And with it chopping and changing so much, I just don't think he's got that IQ that Amorim wants. Just my honest opinion on what I've watched on the pitch. And if Real Madrid can get Dalot and get Trent and get 2 fullbacks for the price of 1, which is looking like what they will do because Liverpool won't sell Trent, then I do believe that Real Madrid will go for Dalot. I don't think they're going to pay 50 million though. I think he's more valued around about 30 for Dalot. Still a profit for United, but I think it could have been so much more. But again, chopping and changing, different roles. What Eric Ten Hag did with Dalot, fucking jeez, that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, what he tried to do with certain players is embarrassing. It really is. But anyway, moving on. When you look at what's left at Manchester United now, what we've got ahead of us in January. By the way, obviously, Liverpool this weekend is a massive game. But one plus point for United and Ruben Amorim is that he's had a full week preparation. So he has alluded to it several times in press conferences. He hasn't got time to train these players. He hasn't got time to drill them. He's plenty of time to grill them. Not drill them, though, in the way that he wants. And he's got a full week preparation this week, which is good. So playing on Sunday, obviously he's got a few more days training. Obviously we've got Manuel Ugarte back. We've got Bruno Fernandes back as well in the side, who are fully fit and fresh. So yeah, if anything, preparation this week should be the best that we've had so far under Ruben Amorim in his month and a half since he's been in at Manchester United. So yeah, I look at that as a little bit of a positive. Obviously, I still expect United to lose because I don't expect anything from this team, and the quality is miles off Liverpool. But at least we'll have a little bit more. I'm clutching at straws. I know, but yes. Anyone want 2 tickets for the rest of the season? No, don't give up yet, mate. Honestly, I need more people to be sat there and being punished with me when I go to these games. So don't give up on me yet, Block Buddy. Keep liking the video, everyone. We're getting close to that 500 live like mark. We should be right up there with over 1,800 in the room. Love it. Keep your comments coming in. Make sure you have subscribed to Forever United TV, everyone. We're on the road to 70k. Not far now from 69, which is absolutely banging. Love it. Let's just see what we've got in here. A few more questions. Les Paul says, I think our big issue at the moment is the shit needs to be removed as the poison players are obviously having an effect on the players who are backing the club. Said that before with Marcus Rashford. I think he is. Once he goes, I think the club starts to move forward. That has to be the priority. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this yesterday, but just going back to that Liverpool game quickly, Michael Oliver being given the refereeing job. Like, he hasn't refereed Manchester United now for nearly a year because of complaints from Manchester United in terms of the Bruno debacle, the Dalot red card. Honestly, it's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke that Oliver is coming in this game again. And I'm not surprised that people are kicking off about it. But right now, the PGMOL, honestly, it's another organisation that I just give up on completely. Absolutely give up on. They're absolutely useless, honestly. Like, some of the decisions, like, who is thinking that is the right decision to make in this game, honestly? Especially when he was the VAR and the debacle of that West Ham penalty as well. Like, honestly, I don't know. In terms of United's January, though, and how important the January is. Oh, quickly, by the way, before we move on to that, I am live at 9 o'clock on Football Talks as well. We're going to be talking Rooney, we're going to be talking Ronaldo on there. So if you want to continue the football conversation, the link, it will be in the live chat. One of the mods will put it in. It's the QR code, the bottom right-hand corner there. But you will be diverted across to the live stream anyway after this show finishes. So please do stay with us and get your opinions in on everything going in on Rooney and Ronaldo special this morning as well. So make sure you're there for that one. I want to talk about Manchester United's January and what is actually happening right now when you look at the fixtures that United have got. So obviously this weekend we've got Liverpool, massive game for United. I don't expect us to win, and I expect the nightmare and the onslaught of everything going against Ruben Amorim to continue. We're going to lose that one. We will probably lose to Arsenal as well. Watched Arsenal last night. Arsenal, they just look like they've got it sussed right now. They really do. They're in great form. I don't think they'll win the league, like I said in the show I did last night on Football Talks. But still, I think that Arsenal will have more than enough for Manchester United. I don't know how serious Ruben Amorim is going to take the FA Cup. But them 2 games alone are going to set off 2025 on a bad foot, you would guess, at this moment. Look, anything can happen in football. We might win them. We might win one of them games. We don't know. But then it really starts for United, because then we play on Thursday night again which is really painful. Why it has to be on a Thursday with United all of the time at the moment, I do not know. It is killing me right now. I've got no Sundays at all. It's ridiculous. So we've got Southampton at home. That, I think, is huge for Manchester United. Just to maybe get points on the board. We have to beat Southampton at home. Because the next game is Brighton. Brighton at home. Again, like, you would normally think that at home United have got a chance. United can beat anybody at home. It's not the case anymore. United at home are probably worse than they are away from home. In reality right now, like the nerves around Old Trafford, the atmosphere, the poisonous atmosphere, the players not being able to handle the expectations and everything that comes. Like I'm worried for the Southampton and the Brighton game. They're bigger than Liverpool and Arsenal for United. Southampton and Brighton at home at Old Trafford, because I just don't think we're anywhere near good enough to compete with Liverpool and Arsenal. And unfortunately, I shouldn't be saying it, but we have to look at it really and say, oh, they're just two games that we could maybe look to find something within a game, but we're probably going to lose anyway. Our records at Anfield and the Emirates, absolutely shocking. And even if it was Sir Alex Ferguson going into these games with Prime United, you'd still be worried about them, wouldn't you? Oh, we never know. Like I said, let's see what happens. But lose both of them games. You've got Southampton and Brighton next at home in a row in the Premier League. Huge. They're the biggest games that Manchester United have got in January. Alongside the next home game, because it's 3 home games in a row, where United then play Rangers in the Europa League, which would cement our place in the knockout phases of the group phase. And then that game on the 30th of January isn't that important against Steaua Bucharest away. He can rest players, and he can then obviously get more training time with the team as well. And realistically, when you look at it, there are 4 games that Manchester United just have to win in January. Southampton at home, Brighton at home, Rangers at home, and Fulham away. I don't fancy us at Fulham. I don't fancy us against Brighton. I look at Southampton and Rangers. Southampton will just give us enough points to stay where we are in the league. Maybe we could scrape a draw against Brighton and Fulham. Just stay relevant around mid-table. It's desperate times, isn't it? The way I'm talking right now. But then you've got Rangers. So we have to beat Southampton. We have to beat Rangers. They're massive. Get maybe a couple of points off Fulham and Brighton, and then the game against Steaua Bucharest is completely irrelevant. You could maybe play some youth players that we could maybe see what they've got in a certain situation, rest all the first team, and take advantage of an extra game that we don't need to be playing our big players in. And like I said, like see what the academy players have got, or the fringe players, give some other players a chance. That's what I look at, because January's massive, because then we've got Crystal Palace, that's a 6-pointer in February, Tottenham away, Everton away, and then Ipswich at home. I'm not confident about any of the games United have got, but reality tells you January's massive, because we can be in the Europa League, which pretty much keeps Ruben Amorim in a job, and Ineos don't get their twitch and feel like they have to sack someone. As long as he's in the Europa League, we've got a chance. I think we've got enough in the games we've got to salvage enough points to keep us in the Premier League. If we can really start to find something. I mean, Jesus, surely you would hope anyway. February's a bit of a nightmare for United. It really is. The Palace and Spurs games, like I said there, like Spurs away, my record there isn't doing well at the moment. I don't fancy us there. Palace had beat us last season at Old Trafford and away from home. And, Drew, we haven't beat Palace in the last 3 times we've played them, so that's a voodoo. That's a hoodoo, sorry. Everton away, Ipswich at home. Ipswich, 6-pointer again for United. But then, it's actually not February that's bad, it's March. Arsenal at home, Leicester away, Forest away, City at home, and then we've got Newcastle away. See, we need to build these points up in January and February before March bleeding comes, because that just looks like that's a nail in the coffin right there for United. It really does. I'm really concerned for the rest of the season, because I don't see us winning any of them games. I mean, how many points are we going to actually pick up from them? So let's beat Arsenal, Liverpool aside. Like, honestly, I don't want to sound like the doom and gloom merchant at all, but I have to look at them realistically, and you know what I mean by that. You know that we don't really stand a chance the way we're playing. Maybe, you never know. It just might happen. We might find something in that game which is a catalyst for something going forward. That's all we can hope for, I feel, anyway. But Southampton and Rangers this month, they're the biggest games for Manchester United. They are. Southampton might just kickstart us. You never know. And then we might be able to beat Brighton. Look, our record against them is shit. They beat us at Old Trafford the last 2 times we've played them as well. So they've already beat us this season as well. Honestly, I've got no confidence against any team, but I just look at the deficiencies in other teams and maybe try and pick out moments in game where we can actually do something. We have to beat Rangers. I mean, seriously, God, that's where we're actually at right now. It's bad. It is. But Ruben Amorim has got a massive task on his hands. Huge task. January is massive for this football club. Massive for the team. Massive for Ruben Amorim. And we need to find something in them lesser games to give us a kickstart. And I'm looking ahead, and Southampton's the one. The Thursday night game against Southampton, that's huge for Manchester United. We need to beat them. 6-pointer, yes, definitely. We need to batter Southampton. Oh, say batter. Just get anything. Just get the 3 points. That's all that matters. And that pretty much is your full update. Everything is covered. I will keep you up to date throughout the day, everybody. Thank you so much. Please give the video a like on the way out. That'll take us over the 500 mark. We've got over 1,800 people still in the room watching, which is mega. Just to go over everything again at the top of the show that we were talking about, Manchester United looking to move Anthony out on loan. I've said that Anthony is more valuable than Rashford right now. I'd rather loan Rashford out and keep Anthony. Adidas will pull the plug on a United deal if we do get relegated. Whichever way you look at it, Manchester United's form right now is going to affect the finances coming in. And Ruben Amorim is the one man that can salvage anything for United. And it is a job and a half with the squad, the players that we have got right now. It's a bit of a disaster show. But, hey, we have to be real. We have to be honest. Let's hope that this team can find something within themselves and turn this season around. January has to happen, doesn't it? Thank you, mods. Thank you, members. Everybody in the chat. I'll be over on Football Talks very soon to go into another live show, so please join me there. Link is in the live chat now, everybody, and you will be redirected once this stream has finished. Thank you, everybody. Epic show. I love you all. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you all over on Football Talks.